think you got what it takes to get into the ring with me and go from bell to bell? You run around telling the world you want to be the heavyweight champion, and that's all well and good. But what do you think I'm going to be doing while we're in that ring? You say you're the best, you got to prove you're the best. And the only way to do that is to pin me in the ring. You say you're the best, it's time to put up or shut up. And I guarantee you, once the dust settles and the smoke clears, you will understand exactly why they call me the Enforcer. Welcome back to T-Bone Southern Rock, guys. It has been a long time since I've said or done anything like that. As you can see by the header, you know why you're here. Believe it or not, and I'm sure this is going to be hard for y'all to believe, this is actually take 2 on this video. Believe it or not, I've actually shot this video before. So welcome back to another episode of Can T-Bone Get This Video Edited completely without losing anything and get it out to you so you can watch it. That seems to be the saga. Why firefighting? Why Freemasonry? Now I answer the question, why pro wrestling? Well, it's pretty well much the standard answer when it comes to Freemasonry and firefighting. I grew up in it. I had family that wrestled over in Dalton. Always had family in somehow linked in the independent circuit, independent wrestling. So I was pretty well much brought up around it. Right before I had my motorcycle wreck, I had started training, and I was doing some stuff up in Knoxville, Tennessee. And then I ended up having my motorcycle wreck, and I backed away from everything for a while to heal. And then in the early 2000s, I got back into the business, and I ran all the way up till about 2012. Off and on, different promotions. But I can say honestly, except for one promotion, that every promotion that I was in, I held a title. And I was a heavyweight champion 9 times, and that's something I'm very proud of. Couple of time tag team champion. Pro wrestling, like I said, it was always there on the weekend. That was our thing to watch. Of course, Saturday night we watched NWA out of Atlanta. You know, while the rest of the world was oohing and ahhing over Hulk Hogan and Roddy Piper and Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Of course, all those guys, we knew who they were. We watched Vince's promotion. But we were more for, we were 4 Horsemen. We were NWA. And I was always a big Tully Blanchard fan, and I was a Magnum TA fan. And the wrestling memories that I have from when I was really young would be my great aunt Rethel that lived over in Varnell, Georgia. We would go over to visit cousins and all of our family on the weekends, and if Rethel was watching NWA wrestling, there was no sense of talking to her about anything until wrestling went off. And we all, every wrestler in the independent circuit has met that one little old lady who loved to swing her purse and cuss the wrestlers. That was my Aunt Rethel. She hated Ric Flair's guts for whatever reason. He was the bad guy, and she knew it was her job to hate him, so she did her job very well. But you know, it's just one of those things. It was just a fun thing to watch. It was a fun thing to be around. Of course, I had cousins in wrestling, family. and I was exposed at a young age. I can remember when I really got serious about wanting to be in wrestling, everything was kind of, the stars were kind of aligning for pro wrestling. We were at the beginning. Okay, guys, let me stop right here. This is why I keep my eyes open on both sides of the road. When I'm riding, no matter what I'm doing, I always watch for deer. There was 2 white-tailed deer right there, but thankfully they didn't try to come on across. We cleared them up on that side. But anyway, now getting back to what I was saying, this was before the Monday Night Wars started. I got interested, really interested in learning about the business in 91, 92 when I was real young. I started watching, I started listening and paying attention and getting body slammed by all my bigger cousins. And you know, people say we trained on mattresses. Well, woo, you were bougie, because I just got slammed on the ground for my efforts. That's kind of how that went. But you know, it was kind of the transition over to WCW had already happened, and of course the flagship at the time was Sting. He was the new market material. I wasn't really paying attention to what was going on inside the WWF at the time, now WWE, of course. I wasn't busy watching Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels and all those guys, except for their pay-per-views or their bigger in-your-house events. We would watch some of those, but for the most part, we were just tuned into the weekly shows. And I followed NWA into WCW, and I followed them very close. But why did I get in? That's the reason right there. Why did I get out? Now, no wrestler who has known me or has been in a show with me actually knew that I retired, because seriously, I never retired. I never did no official goodbye match or anything like that. I had kind of always told myself, when it was too hard to fall down, and it was too hard to get up from falling down, and it took me too long to get out of bed on Sunday after a Saturday night match, that I would just kind of fade away. And up till about 2012, 2013, I was doing okay, and then I started slowing down. My back was giving me a lot of problems, and none of it had to do with wrestling. It was just older injuries that were resurfacing and coming back up. So I just didn't tell anybody I was getting out of the business. I just kind of stepped through the door and let it quietly close behind me. I got to the point, I guess, guys, the best way to describe what happened for me, and it's not like this for everybody. Some guys love wrestling so hard, they love being a part of it so much that they can't just cut it loose and leave it alone. But I did not want to be that guy who I overstayed my welcome, I guess is the best way to say it. I didn't want to be that guy who starts looking pathetic because he don't know when to just leave it alone and get out of the business and be done with it. So essentially that's kind of where I was at with it, because I went out, I was on top, I was a promoter, and I had a pretty successful promotion. I did good as a promoter. I enjoyed being in the ring, but then it kind of got to the point to where I lost the pleasure of doing it. It became a thing where I dreaded being a part of it. When it come time to do a show, by the time it was time for the show to begin, I was already burnt out, shot out, and just didn't want to deal with it no more. So essentially what it done was, once as long as I was just a wrestler in the ring, I was fine. But once I had taken it upon myself to become a promoter, and start running my own shows, which I always ran pretty smooth shows. They weren't always smooth, but for the most part, I had a good group of guys wrestling for me, and you know, good friends helping me out with the promotion. So all that went pretty decent, but I just lost the enjoyment of it. And then, like I said, I was starting to hurt more, and it was harder to get over the matches. And you know, when you're having 2 out of 3 fall matches, and you know, the longer you spend in the ring, sometimes it's easier on you when you spend a longer time in the ring, because your moves are spaced out a little bit more. You can be on the mat and kind of sell a little bit more. But you know, it was getting to where, as the longer matches went on, the harder it was for me to keep my back straight and to look like I wasn't screwing everything up. And nobody had to tell me this, by the way. I knew it. I saw it in myself. I could see that I was starting to slip, and it was really, and people say, well, it must have been hard to walk away from it. I mean, I loved wrestling, guys, so much that Monday nights I was on just like every other wrestler. I was on my couch watching wrestling. On the weekends I was doing wrestling. I was involved in wrestling, and I eat, sleep, and breathe pro wrestling for the longest time, ever since I was a kid. And people say, well, man, it must have been hard just to walk away from it. No, it wasn't. When I decided to put my gear up and hang my boots up and pretty well much just fade away into the background, it was one of the easiest decisions that I'd ever made. It was really, I've made some easy decisions about leaving stuff behind, but when it came time for me to leave that part of pro wrestling behind, I had no issues doing it whatsoever. And not to say that I'm done with it forever. I mean, I've had Billy Havoc and Brenda, we ran into them here just a few weeks ago, and they were talking about trying to put a couple of shows together for benefits. And I was like, you know, outside of being in the ring, anything I can do to help, you know, hey, I'm all about that. Trying to help raise money for certain causes, that's fine. You know, I can still cut a promo if I need to. I can still take a bump if I have to. I can still give out punishment if I need to, but I would just rather kind of be in the background of it, you know, management type or announcer or something like that. I think I could have more fun doing that than being in the ring, because you know, guys, you can talk about wrestling being fake all you want, and I know everybody, oh, that's fake. I give you a lot of it is predetermined in the matches, sure, and a lot of it, yeah, of course, you can look at it and go, yeah, well, if you really hit somebody that hard, you kill them. Yeah, I get that. But when you get body slammed and suplexed, trust me, that mat does not give an inch. Whatever you take in that match, when you hit that mat, you feel every bit of that the next day. And a lot of times you feel it right then. But yeah, I mean, that's, you know, you start to feel that over time. You know, you can only take so many suplexes and back body drops, and you can only hit the turnbuckles wide open so many times before your neck starts feeling it, your back starts feeling it, your legs start feeling it. So for me, it was just, I kind of knew, again, without being told, I just knew that, you know, you're not doing good today. My leg was starting to really bother me, and my back would start bothering me, and it was like, yeah, it's getting close to time for me to just kind of hang it up. So when I stopped promoting, I just pretty well much stopped putting my name out there at all. I went, after my promotion closed, after I quit promoting, I went to Huff's show down in White, Georgia, and I had a pretty good long run with Shannon Dumas and Danny Rose, and I got to play a heel down there, and I had a real fun time with it. I enjoyed that so much. Me and Danny tore the house down there more than once. And you know, it's just one of those things that I loved it so much, but when it was time for me to be done with it, conscience clear, mind was clear, I walked away from it and never thought about it anymore. Literally, I don't even watch pro wrestling on TV anymore. Honestly, and this is just me being truthful with you, I have no idea who the wrestlers are in the WWE anymore. Somebody asked me the other day about, have I watched some kind of wrestling, Impact? I haven't. I don't keep up with any of that stuff. Now, I like to watch old wrestling DVDs, which I have several of from my era. I still like to watch that stuff, and I still get a kick out of them old matches. Still love to watch them. And Tubi, if you guys stream Tubi, Tubi is the free TV service. They actually have a ton of stuff on there about pro wrestling, luchador wrestling. They've got documentaries about Jake the Snake Roberts and $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase. I mean, there's a ton of wrestling stuff on there to watch. But in fact, I just watched one here just a few days ago about the legends of wrestling, where they talked about George the Animal Steele and Hacksaw Jim Duggan and Superfly Jimmy Snuka, and they were talking about their, you know, Greg the Hammer Valentine was in the video. So, I mean, I watched all that, and I just had a blast watching it. And if you're wondering about the roads, guys, you know the area, local guys do. Basically, all I'm doing is, we've got some weather moving in. I wanted to reshoot this video and get this content put together, and hopefully not lose any of it and get it to you so you can see it. But and when I say I don't watch pro wrestling on TV, that doesn't mean I'm against pro wrestling. Not at all. It's just I don't have no interest in it no more. And guys, my wife will tell you, she's seen me watch TV series, and once I lose interest in it, that's it. I'll turn it off and I won't turn it back on. And or I will watch it up to the point to where I actually lost interest in it, like The Walking Dead. Vultures in the road, look there, 2 big old vultures. Squirrel didn't make it. Yeah, you just go that way, big boy, and then you'll be fine. I ain't getting smacked in the face by a vulture, that's just wrong. But you gotta be, when you're on a motorcycle, guys, you gotta watch out for wildlife. That's why I try to keep my head on a swivel to watch what's going on around me. But nevertheless, you know, The Walking Dead, I was talking about that. I will watch The Walking Dead anywhere from season 2 right up to about the end of season 8, maybe about mid-season to season 9, and then I lose interest in it. The story changes, and then I just completely have lost interest in it. But that's just kind of where I'm at. Once I lose interest with something, I'm done with it. So, and what happened with pro wrestling is what I told you, you know, it kind of just got to where, and it's hard, guys, because, and any wrestler in my friends list who is watching this can comment and tell you that once the show comes on, within the first 5 or 10 minutes, I can pretty well much tell you everything that's going to happen and how the show's going to end. And my wife would sit and listen to me tell her each match what was going to happen. And she said, how do you know all that? I said, because I've studied it. I was a student of pro wrestling. So, but yeah, I mean, you know, when people say, man, you've done a lot, firefighting, Freemasonry, wrestling, riding motorcycles, you know, 3 great kids, a wonderful marriage, 23 years. I was just always one of these guys, and I knew these people when I was young. You would always see these guys who would always talk about what they wanted to do, or they were going to do this, or they were going to do that. And I just never really was that guy. If I wanted to do something, I would just go do it. I wasn't a talker, I was a doer. And that has always benefited me in my life. Yeah, I can't think of one time where being a doer didn't benefit me in my life. You know, because I would listen to the older folks when I was young talk about, I wish I would have done this, or I wish I would have done that, or I wish I hadn't stopped doing this or stopped doing that. Like, even today, I meet a lot of older guys. Sorry about that, guys. Nose is itching. But I meet a lot of older guys in my travels. When I'm on my motorcycle, they will say, man, I remember when I owned one back in 19 blah blah. And it's like, and then you always ask them, well, why did you get rid of your motorcycle? Well, I got married and we had kids. Okay. I don't understand the philosophy of once you get married, you can't own a motorcycle. My wife and my very first date, the first time she ever met me and spent any time with me, was on the back of my motorcycle. And in 23 years, and she loves to ride. She'll get on the back and go. Every time I say let's go ride, she's down for the ride. She's ready. And I've always kind of thought that was weird, that, well, she knew I rode before we ever dated. So why would she think that after we're married, I'm going to quit riding motorcycles? And people say, well, I got married, so I sold my motorcycle. Boy, I miss it, though. And I'm like, yeah, but geez, now you're now you're not in good health, and you missed all of those years when you could have been riding your motorcycle. Because, guys, listen, some of the best advice I've ever heard is, this life is not a dress rehearsal. This isn't a practice run. This is it. Once you live this life, that's it. So if you want to do something, do it. You don't get another chance to do these things. So when people won't eat certain kind of food because they say, well, it's not healthy, or they won't drink a certain kind of drink. They say, well, I love the way it tastes, but listen, you're not, I'm not living my life to have a good funeral. I'm living my life for the pleasure of living my life so I can enjoy my time here. And it don't have to be riding a motorcycle, guys. If you like to bicycle or hike or go to church, I know people who love to go to church every time the door opens. And then you could ask those people, well, why do you like to go to church so much? They say, well, okay, why do you like to ride your motorcycle so much? Because of the enjoyment. People enjoy going to church. They enjoy riding bicycles. They enjoy mountain climbing or hang gliding or fishing. Just being on the lake on a boat fishing, that's their happy spot. But whatever your happiness is, guys, do it. Again, this isn't a dress rehearsal. This is it. This is the one life you get. And I've wrecked motorcycles. I've been put down hard in the wrestling ring. I have seen people that it broke my heart. When I was on the fire department, I ran a wreck one night. And Kim had been in a wreck. Rest in peace, Kim Allen. She's no longer with us. And I ran that call the night that she was killed in a car accident. And it broke my heart, tore my heart out, because I love Kim to death. But I didn't stop being a firefighter because of that. Or when I went down and got hurt in the ring, I didn't stop being a wrestler because of that until later. But when I wrecked my motorcycle, I didn't quit riding my motorcycle. I just worked to get myself better, and I started riding again. You're going to fall down. It's how you get up. That's what counts. So, guys, I'm not trying to be the inspirational T-Bone here, but if you're inspired by that, that's fine. If you made it to the end of this video, give me a like, comment on it, let me know what you think, share my videos, help me get the word out. Enjoy life, guys, because it's not a dress rehearsal. Just remember that. You only get one shot at it. So So till the next time, I'm T-Bone, and this has been the Southern Ride.